thoughts on that?
Well, that's the one I remember the most. I remember they posted up on an entry in overtime, and Larry Murphy cut the pass and made the Dale turn, and Larry hit him with a perfect pass. He got a breakaway, and Ron Hextall, little deke, and scored. And that was a pretty exciting time for us because of the Flyers being a good team, and we thought we were a very good team at that point.
You remember what your mood was like on the bench? People forget you were down 3-0 in that game. You lost Gary Galley, I think.
Yes.
What were you telling the guys on the bench at 3-0?
I thought we had every team I think I coached here, we had real character people and worked hard, and they hung in real tough in the game. And all we were trying to do was, stay alert, stay active on the ice, put pressure on them, and we found a way to get back into the game, and then of course win that one. And as I say, it was probably the one I remember most. Maybe it was just because it was Dale Hunter and Larry Murphy that made the play, but a whole group of guys played awfully hard in the game.
Let me go to another series. The first series the Capitals ever won in the postseason was against Philadelphia in '84. I think a lot of Washington fans remember going up to Philly, the team, and being intimidated for a lot of years. Is that something you tried to target in that series?
Well, I thought when I first got to Washington, you're right, we had an older group, and as David started to rebuild the team, I thought we acquired some real competitive people. And I remember that series. Bob Campbell was coaching there, and the Gould, Duchesne, and I think Glenn Curry line at that point were really good. And I remember the first couple of games in particular, they were all over the place. He got a couple of goals, and being the checking line to do what they did was really remarkable.
This building now is very, very loud. Cap Center in '87 was very, very loud. Any compare? I mean,
they've done a tremendous job here now. There's no question, and they pump it up. They got the big mid-ice screen. They do. I made a note of it actually tonight for our team that their in-house presentation is outstanding. The fact that they got everybody in the red sweaters, I think it's terrific. But the Cap Center was real good at that time too. And people don't remember maybe as much, but I remember coming to Washington when the building wasn't full, and then I think 28 out of 40 games were sellouts. We averaged over 16,000 in the building. That was probably capacity 17 a little bit. But our people, Lou Strutler, people like that did a terrific job in filling the building up. And the fans really respected our team. And we got a lot of support too. I know that there was a time in between, but certainly we got a lot of support at that point.
Bryan, what do you remember about the battles with the Islanders? And can you talk about the losses and then finally breaking through against them in '86?
Well, I think the biggest thing of all was I felt there were 2 years that we had a chance to win the Stanley Cup. I remember one game, I think it was Game 6, that we outshot them 42-21. Billy Smith was a star for them. They found a way late in the game to score a goal to get the game even. We were on Long Island, another game. I remember Rod Lineway took Trottier to the wall real hard. He kind of punched the puck through, and for some reason or other, it did get in the net, and they got a tie there, and the Bossy scored. I believe it was in overtime to win. So there was a lot of series with the Islanders. They had a great club. They won some cups that we probably felt, as I said, at one point that we could have won 1 or 2 if we had just gotten by them, because they were, without a doubt, in their time, the class of the league, and a heck of a tough matchup to make. And then when you finally beat them, it's more of a sense of relief than anything, but we had great battles with them and the Flyers over a period of time.
You told us upstairs earlier, you thought a couple of those Capitals clubs were literally an inch or two or a bounce or two away from winning or going to the Cup final?
As over my career, I've seen that happen. My time in Washington, we certainly had teams getting 100 and some points one year, 98 points another year, playing in the playoffs and competing and knowing the character of our team. We had a great defensive core. We had 3 lines that were good lines. I mentioned the Duchesne Gould line. Jarvis was there for a while. Curry was there for a while. But we had Bobby Carpenter for a while. Mike Gardner, of course, Ben Gustin, Dave Christian, guys like that made up our team. And we had great character. But for whatever reason, it is such a fine line. And you really find that it takes a lot of luck, it takes good health, and it takes I guess, real good players to win. And we just found a way that we often, in a lot of games, even the long overtime game when Pat LaFontaine scored, I think we had 77 shots to goal to their 52. We had 3 or 4 breakaways. I remember I Andy Van Helman years later, Bobby Gould had 2 breakaways, and he got tripped and knocked. He said, well, he should have shot the puck earlier instead of calling the penalty at the time. That may have decided the fate of this organization. But looking at what's going on here now, the turn will come. But as you say, it takes luck and good health for that to happen.
Do you remember much about that 14-game unbeaten streak, particularly maybe the Edmonton game when you beat them without Gretzky or any of those games?
Well, I remember, as I said, I always felt we had character, good effort, and game after game in that role, you asked your guys to give it again tonight, and we had some tremendous games. Actually, some of our games against Edmonton over the years were the best, because even with Gretzky playing or not, our matchups for the most part were really good, and I thought game after game we made them pay a real big price. In that particular game, missing him was a big deal for them, but we took advantage of it, and I think that's the biggest thing of all.
We should let him get on the bus here.
Guys.